All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Man, we are in for a treat tonight. I have some amazing individuals hanging out with me here tonight. And the first one I have hanging out with me here tonight that I'm super pumped to have on with us is the amazing director, Mr. Don Martin. Don, glad to have you on, dude.
I'm glad to be here. Congratulations for everybody who's watching live, watching the recording. We're going to bring it tonight. I'm excited for you guys to take away some great stuff, not only from myself and Cullen, but we got some guests here for you guys too. So it's going to be a great night.
It's going to be amazing. As you guys know, this is our Wednesday evening Master on Franchise Owner Action Plan and 53 Challenge series. And we're going to be teaching one of the number one fundamental things as part of our basic 5. And that is, as we're approaching people, how to share the business, how to share the management performance compensation plan with people. That is going to be our primary tonight. But before we get into it, we'd love to find out where each and every one of you are tuning in from. In the chat, please go ahead and type in where you guys are tuning in from. This is always one of my favorite parts, Don.
Absolutely.
Chicago in the house. Let's go, Chicago.
Bristol, Virginia, Atlanta. I love it.
Go.
Ontario,
LA, New Hampshire,
Clearwater, Florida,
Vermont,
Burlington.
House. Look at that.
Right. Alberta, Calgary.
Let's go.
Oh, come on. Calgary, Alberta. We got to talk. I love that place. One of my favorite places in the world.
It is absolutely gorgeous up there.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, guys.
Manitoba.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Anytime that we ask you guys to participate, throw something in the chat, please hang in there with us, whether you guys are on Facebook Live or you guys are on our Zoom session. Please participate and play at 100%. We love the interaction and love the participation, because anytime our brains are engaged in the learning process and we're participating not only mentally, but physically, and then we're typing something in or we're making a note on our scratch pad at home, then we know that we're locking in the learning, and then therefore we can take our business to the next level. So with that being said, as I said, we are on week 3, week 2 last week. If you missed it, establishing a possibility list, consistently adding to it workshop with Dr. Deidre Mason and Melanie Nelson. It was all about how to build a list of possibilities and how to streamline that list and get ready to make sure we're approaching people and making things happen. They also leverage the power of social media and identifying people on social media that would be incredible business partners potentially, or customers, and how to go that direction. And before we get into it though, Don, one of the things I wanted to do is show our leaderboard. How about our leaderboard? And right here, we have the leaderboard for the US. So many names on here that we recognize, Don, of people that are moving and shaking. You know what I love about the weekly, this is the weekly leaderboard, is that it doesn't matter what happened last week. This is a new week, and any one of you could be adding your name to this list. Right, Don?
Absolutely. You know, it's all about what you can do from now moving forward. And for all of you, including me, sometimes we might not have the week we want, but you can immediately take action, hit the reset button, get right back in and put yourself right in the top leaderboards each and every week. So it's an awesome thing. And it gives you that chance to start fresh.
There we go. And I'm also showing Canada here, our brothers and sisters to the north, moving and shaking, making things happen. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And the last one I'm going to show is our year-to-date leaders worldwide. Just wanted to throw this on here so every single one of us can see not only week 1, week 2, it's like a whole year to date. So from the time we started all the way up till now, I took a screenshot before we jumped on here tonight. So these are all of the leaders worldwide. Congratulations to each and every one of you for showing up big in order to grow your business to the next level. Now, before we get started here tonight, we have some people that we want to introduce to you tonight. We have 2 amazing individuals who week one, they were on the leaderboard themselves for the number of times that they expose the unfranchised business system. But most importantly, Don, it was for the MPCP. So if somebody's doing a part one, a part two, well, that'd be part two. We got to get to the MPCP. And that's what we're going to be talking to you guys here tonight. And so we want to introduce our two distinguished guests on the line with us, because they were at the top of the leaderboard after week one here in North America. And so please give a huge welcome to Carmen Ames and Aubrey Luke. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight. Excited to have you guys on the line with us.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
You guys are
absolutely leading by example, moving and shaking, making it happen. So the first thing we want to talk about, so last week it was adding to your possibility list, and now we're moving into approaches, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on approaches, but we do have some tips for you on approaches. And as you guys can see on this slide, it's all about what are some different ways that you can be approaching people. You know, you be great at what I do. If I could show you a way, we know that's another one that many people have used, of course, in the past. You know, have you ever thought about working for yourself, being your own boss, being an entrepreneur? Are you somebody who keeps your financial options open? You know, would you know the right people? Now, as we're talking about this, I'm going to do like a round robin here tonight, guys. I'm just going to go around the horn here, and I would love to hear from each of you at what your favorite approach is as you're moving and shaking. And we're going to start off with Aubrey Luke. Aubrey.
My favorite approach is, saying hello, and smiling. It opens up the door. But usually what I say is, obviously I get to know who they are. And I could say, hey, let's say we're working out in the gym. Hey, Cullen, I know this is a shot in the dark, but actually not asking to give up what you're currently doing, with your business or whatever you're doing, but I'm actually in the process of expanding my business into this area. And you may or may not be interested, but I would love to connect with you and meet you over a cup of coffee. And most of the time they say, sure, why not? And that's what we do. Worst case scenario, I can learn what you do. You can learn what I do. And, it could be a win-win situation. And worst case scenario, I have a new friend. And, how's it get any better than that?
Love it. That's perfect. All right, Don, going to jump to you, buddy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I grew up in the business at 23 years old. And when I first started, I was petrified of a no. I'll be honest. I was one of the type of people who got started that was not a direct approach person at all. The first direct approach I tried, I got smacked down and I was under my bed with my tail between my legs. And I didn't like the way it felt because I was sensitive to that. So thank God my accountant gave me Master Building Techniques cassette tape, which is now on in the Dead Sea Scrolls audios available through your marketing app. But I mastered the evaluation approach. I listened to that audio probably 100 times in my first 30 days. And I mastered the process of asking people to evaluate the business without them having to be interested, so I can get them comfortably evaluating to see if they might know the right people. And in so doing, they might become interested themselves, because that's how they got me. I wasn't interested at all, but I evaluated. So I keep it real simple, and I follow the standard step-by-step evaluation approach. Hey, Cullen, this is Don. It's been a minute since the last time we talked, but something came up that brought your name to mind. I was wondering, I don't know if you heard or not, but I did start a new business, and I'm looking to expand and bring a person or two on board. I know you're busy, Cullen, and you probably may not, there's a good possibility you wouldn't have any time for anything additional right now. And I'm fine with that, but you may know the right people that I'm looking for. And it would be a great help if I could run it by and see who you may know. I'd really appreciate it. And again, it could be any variation of that, but I want it to be my thing that I'm thinking of is no pressure on me to get them interested, and no pressure on them to have to be interested. And most importantly, they can't say I'm not interested because I didn't ask them to be. I just asked to evaluate it because they might know the right people, and in so doing, and I also add in there too that I can always work something out for you if it leads the business. So mine is a standardized evaluation. It's never changed. And very similar to what Aubrey said at the end, worst case scenario. And I love to use that term. Worst case scenario, I'll know what you have going on. You'll know what I have going on, and we might be able to help each other in the future, minimally.
Perfect. Love it. Carmen, how about you?
Well, mine is kind of a combination of Aubrey and Don, because when I meet people, I like to build relationships, and I don't want them to feel pressured, and I don't want to be the kind of person where when I walk in their room and they go, oh no, here she comes. So I do the evaluation approach. I actually do exactly what Audrey does. I reach out, I introduce myself, I tell them that I'm in a new business and then I would love them to evaluate what I'm doing. And then in the worst case scenario, hey, you can share what you do. Maybe I can help you with what you're doing. You can help me with what I'm doing. We become friends, and then we work together as a team if it works out. If not, maybe you share this opportunity with someone else and lead me to people. And that to me is the most important part, building the relationship and leading to people.
Perfect. I love it. And you know what, one thing we kind of hovered over very quickly here is, if everybody could quickly at least share your background with people, either prior to the company or whatever, just so that way they kind of know what you were doing when you got started. Don, let's jump to you real quick.
Yeah, construction, 23 years old, but I ran a construction business from the time I finished college until a couple of years after this business went full time. But I played baseball.
Perfect. Carmen, how about you?
I own and have owned for many years a marketing company, but now I'm transitioning. I'm taking my plan A to my plan B, and my marketing business is still a marketing business, but I love what I do in Market America. And so I'm transitioning and I'm really excited about it. And they're both win-wins. And I always tell anyone that I'm working with, don't quit your day job, because that's a way to meet people and introduce this business to other people. And so that's what I've been doing now for many years. And so it's, you know what, I love what I do. I love people, and it's an opportunity to grow this business to another level.
Perfect. Perfect. Aubrey, how about you?
I used to be an elementary school teacher, and I built this on the side. So I was able to stay at home with my kids, raise my kids, and I put my family first. And then I built this business around them. So it's been a great ride. So I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely. Perfect. And I am Cullen Haskins. I worked as a maintenance mechanic before I got introduced to the unfranchised. Trinity and I were in our mid 20s, and we were just looking for a way to generate the supplemental income. So we go home with our 5 children. We're blessed to be full-time parents because of the unfranchised for now going over 22 plus years. But that was all because we did what all of us are teaching you here tonight, is we followed the system. You gotta be willing to do the work, put in the 10 hours a week, check off the boxes in the getting started guide, do the work, expect to make the money if you're obviously doing the work. And so we got the approaches, and as we know, the main key points, this is my only other slide on the evaluation approach, is just make sure that you're checking off the boxes here. So we're going from step 1, just giving them a text or giving them a call. Hey, when's a good time that I can give you a call? If you're doing the text to call, you text them and then you call them and then you set the appointment. We're obviously going to edify them. Why are we calling them? Everybody's got different backgrounds. You got professionals, you have business owners, we have stay-at-home parents. You've got, people that are, I'm working in a factory. There's all kinds of different people, doesn't matter. But ultimately it's everything that we're already talking about, getting together for a cup of coffee, whether you may or may not be interested. Hey, help me out. And then of course, making sure that we tie it down. And if that date doesn't work, when is as soon as that we can get together. So just make sure you're following the step-by-step. By the way, the slides I'm sharing with you here tonight are located in the Basic 5 training, which is located in everybody's unfranchised.com back office underneath resources and support materials. Now, let's get into what are the best ways to share the business system, because I'm just like the rest of you guys on that first one. Approach is all about the evaluation approach. Do exactly a combination of what you guys are sharing. Asking people to evaluate, it takes all the pressure off, and let's make it happen. But now we're going to meet with them and what are the best ways to share the business. And as you guys can see on the slide, one way is obviously downloading the unfranchised business presentation from support materials in your back office and going through the PowerPoint. And then of course, number 2, there's videos accessible to each and every one of us from Market America's YouTube channel. And number 3 is the flip chart code. a flip chart in code 700. But when we think about that in terms of sharing the business, what is your favorite way, by far favorite ways? Because again, we know a lot of tools here, but what's your favorite way that you use the most? And on this one, we're going to start with Carmen.
Well, actually, thank you, Cullen. My favorite way to show the plan is in person, and only because to me that is so wonderful that we now have the opportunity to be back with our people and also meeting and sharing the plan. And the reason why I like it so much, you can read people so well in person, but I'm not saying I don't use Zoom. I still use Zoom because I feel like it is a great way to reach out and with people that may not have the time to meet you. And so, but my favorite way is in person. I show part one, I show part two. And one of the things that I love about it is that you can show part one. And then if you're working with someone that really understands the business and wants to move on to part two, you're with them then, why not do it then? And so that's what I do. And then we move to meet and greet and trial runs. So I just love the in-person.
All right, beautiful. Don Martin, you go next, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to me, my absolute, this is going to be a little shock to some people. I know it won't be for you, Cullen, because we talked about this, but my absolute favorite way is with a pen and pad, still to this day. I love to show the plan with a pen and pad. Now, that doesn't mean I don't use a PowerPoint very, very often. I use a PowerPoint all the time. I use a flip charts all the time. I only use videos personally for follow-up after they've seen it at least once or twice. But my goal is I want people to see it 3 different ways on 3 different times. I want them to see it drawn out and sketched out, right, on a pen and pad, either the first or second time. I want them to see it on opposites, whether it's again, depends on how the setting is. If I'm sitting one-on-one with somebody and we're just jamming and we're rapping and it's just me and somebody else, I'm going to grab a pen and pad and sketch it out. It feels comfortable. It doesn't feel pitchy. They can't read ahead of me, so they can't get, have think gaps. They can't make assumptions because of what diagrams are used. And by the way, human beings love to follow the tip of a pen or pencil. Mm-hmm. They can't help but to pay attention. Even digital companies, right, Carmen, are creating these videos where it's like a really fast pen because people can't help watching it. So you can control it, and you only talk about what you understand. But when you draw it, you master the plan. If you can draw it, you know it. So my absolute favorite way is to draw it, but I want people that I sit down to see it at least by a sketch, whether it's the first or second time sketched out, with a PowerPoint if it's the first or second time. And then the third time can be a flip chart or a video, whatever it might be. But that's my favorite by far.
Love it. Yeah. Aubrey, how about you?
Well, my favorite way is to just do it. Just show it. So I actually have the part 1, part 2 videos up on my, my Google Chrome, ready to go at any time, as well as the PowerPoint downloaded. It's always there all the time, as well as a flip chart in my purse. So my favorite is I do like to go, belly to belly, meet in a coffee shop. I have them all mapped out in my whole town. I know where they live, and my biggest my plan attack is just to show it. And I want to get that appointment. I want to meet with them. So I normally do a part 1, part 2. But again, if the energy is flowing, if they're a business owner, if they have experience with other businesses and it's feeling right, then I just go for it. And then I book them into the meet and greet or trial run. So, again, over time, the more times you do it, you kind of know what tool is the best one to use it. Now, for duplication purposes for new people, I also like, doing the video. So I want to get the new person shown the plan as quick as possible. And with the video, this is how we do the intro, and we all do it in teams. We all work together. But then they're not as afraid, to share it with other people as well. Then we then we book them into the next step. So I think all the tools are important, but what's most important is just doing it. And I like to bring products with me. Mm-hmm. I actually like to run out of the house. I like to bring an OPC with me. I like to bring a digestive enzymes with me. It's sitting on the table and actually make them drink it there right in front of me, because because I love this business so much that I just want everyone to experience it, you know? And if I can, I want to see them face to face, you know?
If I can make a quick comment on this, Cullen, too, if you don't mind, one of the most things that I've noticed, and you know, I'm a technology guy. I love using technology. I've had a Zoom account for 9 years, right? And you know, the part 1, part 2 online has been great, and because it makes it you know, more comfortable for people. It keeps, you don't have to worry about keeping people's attentions for such a long time. So if you break it up, that's fine. But I will say, for me, when they're in person, I'm not showing them anything until I can show them everything. Like just for me, when I'm in person, I'm walking them through everything, because, you know, to get they took the time to come meet. I have them. The thing that caught my attention, and I know, Cullen, you probably are the same way, but when I saw the numbers, when I saw the MPCP, when I saw 12 and 12 equals 300 and 100% accrual and until you get paid, infinite search and no end of month, I saw all that stuff. That was game changing for me. But if I wouldn't have saw that the first time, especially when I was together, they would have never got me back the second time. So, you know, I love to get, worst case scenario, I know at least they saw enough to make an educated decision and to see what makes us different. And that's the big thing. We need people to know what makes us different. Everybody says they have a great company. Everybody says we do billions of dollars, but what makes us different is how we get paid in those key concepts that we're going to talk about, I think, in here in a second, but just wanted to point that out. I got excited.
That gets a little excited. Okay, Carmen.
I just wanted to say another thing that I do is I always make sure I bring the trial size packets with me, and I bring different ones to share with them, because at the worst case scenario, if they're not ready, at least I can get them on product and get them to try the product and get them as a preferred customer, and then make certain that, you know what, they're going to learn that that's duplicatable, and that's what they're going to do if this becomes part of what they're going to do in their business.
Absolutely. And I all of you guys nailed so many great points here. And for those of you online with us, Facebook Live or on the Zoom session, type it in the chat. What is your favorite way, if you had to pick one, that you like to lead with when you're meeting with people to share the business? And I'm more like sit down, 30,000 foot view, talking in themes with them. Maybe I'm getting to know them, but I don't want to give a little bit about the company, and I might not show a PowerPoint, but I'm just talking to them. And then I'm like, you know, oh, that sounds great about the company. Oh, over 10 billion in sales. Well, that's a pretty solid company. I'm like, yeah, we're a product brokerage company. So we're just talking. And then it may be like horizontal, vertical, or something like that, just to kind of get them to understand that we're unique, that we're different. Yeah. But the key is often showing it often. I like what Aubrey said, just do it. We're going to show it often. And the second thing is, no matter what tool in the toolbox you're using, remember this, they're always buying or selling you. Are they buying you? Are they, do they trust you? Do they like you? Are you bonding with them, or are you not? So it really doesn't matter to me, you guys, what tool someone's using, if they don't posture up, if they don't have some belief and confidence in what they're bringing to the table for everybody to see, and then therefore buy into. So, all right, let's move on here. So we're moving into part 2. So if somebody's doing the part 1, part 2 format, fantastic. That's another way that people are doing it. That works as well. Remember though, no matter what we're doing, we're mirror and matching people. We're always trying to match people up with like-minded people. That's why if you're doing one of those and you know that Don's going to relate best, or Carmen or Aubrey are going to relate best with the person, you bring a second person in to help with that presentation. Fantastic. And then ultimately, we're always saying what everybody's saying right here. We're getting people, always be seeding, by the way. Think about this. If you're taking notes, I hope you guys are. Always be seeding. That's the word, seeding. We're always seeding referrals. We're always saying the people that you're probably thinking of at this point are well-connected people, have a great personality. You know, if you're always seeding what you're looking for, you want that person to like sit up in their chair, lean in, be excited, whether on a Zoom or face-to-face. They should be excited, say, well, that's me. That's what they should be thinking. And of course, there's no major decision to make, and we're always moving them forward in the process. That's part 2. And ultimately, as we're getting into part 2, it's all about leveraging everything Don was already sharing here. Okay. And then I'm going to hit 2 more slides, guys, and we're going to open this up. So obviously, what are the strengths of the MPCP? Why are we counting as part of the 53 challenge? Are you sharing the MPCP? We're not counting a first look. We're counting a part 2. We got to get to the money. We got to get to the business. We got to be able to hit the fact that there's immediate retail profits, volume search to infinity, volumes going to accrue, volume and people placement, commissions calculated weekly. And of course, you can own multiple businesses. And then of course, you have the ability to earn more than senior partners. It's a willable asset. Organizational structure creates a vested economic interest in the entire team. You want people to see that we have a vested interest as a whole team to dig to the bottom. We're only building 2 organizations, and we can, of course, grow globally. So with all of that being said, you guys, why is it so important? You know, one thing we notice with some people is they're great at the introduction and they're getting somebody to a part 1, but they're not getting them to a part 2 in some cases. And what is the missing link? And some of you guys already alluded to this. Sometimes you get in front of somebody and it's almost like, you have their attention, you had them excited, but then it's like, but wait a second, I can't meet with you for a few days. And now we literally lit it on fire and it's like, whoa, big fire's burning. And we're like, but hold on a minute, we got to slow this whole thing down. And we're like, oh no, why are we slowing anything down? Right? So on this one, the first person to go is going to be Mr. Don Martin.
So what was the question, Colin?
Oh my God.
You asked the question and answered it, but go ahead.
Okay. So the question is, as we're doing, the reason we're focused tonight on part 2s, if somebody's doing the part 1, 2, 3, right? So part 2 is all about the MPCP. Right. Why are we only counting the MPCP and tracking that? And then of course, the part 2 and the MPCP is all about getting people to see how we're a unique business structure invented and created by JR and Lauren Reitinger. I mean, that's what it's all about.
It brings it to life. It brings the business to life. It shows the realness and the conversion of real income to people and the differentiation factor. We are like nothing else out there in the world, guys. Nothing else out there in the world. Other companies can say they've done billions of business. Other companies can say, you know, we have great products and, you know, we're awesome and we have a good rating. And other companies can say that, right? But what no other company in the world can say is what sets us apart. And that is what Cullen just talked about. The vertical, we can build teams of people, yes, but the vertical placement, the vertical search to infinity for volume, the 100% credit to everyone from the bottom to the top, the accrual till you get paid with the at the end of month, you know, the volume and people placement and the reentry process where you can bring in new businesses, open new centers within your existing team, along with all the other benefits. Nothing else in the world has those things. Not a single thing. Some companies have tried to copy one thing or another thing or from us, but nobody out there, even after our 30 years, comes close to those things. And we need people to see those concepts and then show them how it turns into money. Because if we don't tell them how it turns into money, they think we're just blowing hot air and smoke. We got to show how this concept creates volume, and the volume turns into real checks, 300, 300, 300, 600 in your pocket, because then they can put a real life meaning to the business when they connect the financial back to it, and they see how this will actually create financial by showing them the differences.
Beautiful. Awesome. Aubrey, what do you think about that whole process?
Yeah, it's the second part is always my favorite part. You know, I always say we need an injection of the MPCP and you'll feel good. But that's it. Yeah, nobody does what we do with the numbers, and no one is doing what we're doing. And then when you get to those slides toward the end and you can explain how the volume accrues, there's even now examples, you know, on our PowerPoint, like real live examples of like the shower gel, the OPC3 and the aloe juice. And when they can see how that can happen and how we can get this working for them, even like what we like to say, like it's like test driving a car, right? So, and we can even do it for you. And I think that's where it comes to life is the second part, is toward the end with the numbers and the examples. And it just all comes to life. And I think it's really important that we share that with everyone as well.
Love it. Perfect. And Carmen, how about you?
Well, Don and Aubrey kind of said it all. I mean, they said it best. And the one thing that most impressed me about the MPCP is the fact that we are working together as a team. And this is one of the things that Elizabeth teaches us, because Aubrey and I are part of Team All In, is that it's leveraging our team and it's working together as a team. So when you are sponsoring someone, they can see that there are people there that are going to work with them because they are all benefiting by all of our efforts. So when you think about promoting that and sharing that we have no competition, we don't compete with each other, we support each other, we help each other, that we can go into any area globally and work together and build our company and build our own businesses without anyone interfering, because we share each other, we help each other. My team, my sponsors on the West Coast, the East Coast, they took me under their wing and have done everything they could to help me. So with the MPCP, with no competition, helping each other, building 100% of 100% of 100%, which Big Al says all the time. What else is there out there? There's nothing like us. Don's right, 100%, and so is Aubrey. We have the best of the best. Why not share it with everyone?
And absolutely. I want them to see it, Cullen, right? I want them to see that, because if sometimes you only got a shot, especially if you're in person, it's hard to get them back in person again. If you get them in person, then you don't answer those questions and create that intrigue and that differentiation that we have. Man, just get it in front of them. Goodness gracious. Don't overthink it. Show the thing.
Absolutely. And let's talk about this slide. I love this slide. As a matter of fact, if I'm meeting with somebody in person or on a Zoom session, and I'm just trying to do a compare and contrast analysis, what I love is we're really comparing, the horizontal marketing structure, real estate, insurance sales, traditional businesses, all of it works the same. It's how Amway was created. All Amway did was copy corporate America and put it in the homes, but it still revolved around levels and percentages and everything, the people at the top getting paid the most money. And then of course, JR obviously inventing and creating the binomial compensation system and looking at all of the differences. What were the hangups? What were the areas that people were having a challenge in regards to growing their business? And here's the key, folks: part-time. It's not that anybody can't be successful in all these different business systems or different franchises or whatever the model is we're talking about, but is it made for what the average person can do part-time based on what? Putting in 10 hours a week, identifying 10 customers, building out base 10, and then building, 7 strong. And of course, everybody receiving 100% of the credit for the volume and flowing up. And then of course, earning potential isn't based on position. So it's not like, oh, that person got in early. There's a cap in the plan. It's like, as soon as there's a cap in the plan, immediately the wall goes down for people when they assume, I was like, well, is it a pyramid? This is, well, I don't know. Is in a pyramid, is the person capped in the plan? And the person says, well, no. And it's just like, well, then no, it's not. Isn't that exciting? You get all excited about it, right? But Carmen, and as it relates to the MLM structure, which is the horizontal, and then what we do with the vertical, how does that impact in what you're sharing the business with people, of like having the light bulb go on for people, or posturing up for people to really know that this is a unique system that JR invented and created?
Well, I find when sharing it with, prospects, and also with someone that's very interested in the business, when they see the way it's structured and the fact that they work with all of us and they can bring people into the business and work together as teams and leverage each other, the enthusiasm with people that really understand it, it takes some time. Like we say, you need to show this 2 or 3 times or even 4 times before the light bulb goes off. I know for me, it took some time. I was like, how does this really work? So I don't want anybody that's on here to think if you're new that the light bulb's going to go off right away. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But I will say that the people that understand it, the comparison is, there is no comparison. In my opinion, Don said it right. There's no comparison. There's nothing out there like it. When you think about building horizontally, only the people at the top win. And the people that come in, they don't last very long because they're not going to win like we win in this business. And the nice thing about this business, you get out of it what you put into it. The people above you, if they're not working, they're not going to make what you're making. So it's a matter of working together and doing your part. I mean, you can work 8 to 10 hours in this business, or 8 to 15 hours.
Yeah, love it. All right, Aubrey, let's jump to you on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to, paint the picture, for the individual. Like, look at, there's no end of the month. I'll talk about like car sales or, anything, any kind of sales or company. We have no end of the month. That our volume accrues up to 365 days. There's no breakaways. Truly, if we were an XYZ company, we'd be in competition with each other. And when you paint the picture for them, you explain it, how different we are. They're like, wow, this is unbelievable. Because I said, the only way to fail in this business is to quit, and that's why we've been in business for over, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this August, and, and it's just infinitely deep. And so once they see the differences, it is mind blowing. And I said, yeah, why do you think I've been doing this for like 19 years? It's the longest thing I've ever committed myself to. So they get it. They feel it. They see it.
Love it. Love it. Don Martin.
Yeah. I mean, great answers, both of you guys. To me, it does a couple things, in addition to showing what makes us different, because it's visual. Hey, we're not this, we are this. It's, you know what I mean? And all the benefits create synergy, camaraderie. It gets rid of all the downsides. My two favorite things that I really point out, and I really want you to know on why we do it. Number one, I hate to use this term right now after the past 2 years, but it inoculates people. Let me explain what I mean. When you show people what we're not and then show them what we are, no one can ever say we're what we're not. Right. Because you were proactive. You proactively handled that. You handled the objection before it ever came up. So now if they leave, because you guys know as well as I do, when you first talk to some people, you know how to handle yourself because you've been around a minute. But as soon as they leave and they talk to someone else and they have an assumption that they make it on, they might not know how to answer that because they didn't see what made us different. So they might feel that, and they're fragile. They don't know any better yet. So I want to get that out right away so they can see we're not what people think we are. This is what makes us different. The second thing it does.
Hey, by the way, I love that. So basically you're saying, and planting seeds again, by the way,
that's right,
is most people will assume it's like this because everything's like that. But this is how we really are. See, so now you've painted that picture, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean, I love that.
It took me 4 months to look. I was irritated that they didn't show me the differences, or else I would have looked sooner. It took me 4 months to see it because I thought it was like everything else out there that I saw other people try, my dad try. I wanted nothing to do with it. But when I saw those things, when I saw all the things we talked about and how it was different visually, it completely floored me. And no one from that point on ever could have told me it was like one of those things, because that's what I thought it was until I saw what made it different. The second thing that I always plant, because this is the truth, and this is, JR created this to solve the problems inherently flawed in the home-based business network marketing industry. And in so doing, he created a whole new industry without any of the problems, but all the benefits of working from home. And it took him an 8-year process to do that, but he changed the industry completely and provides a solution to every downside that's inherently flawed in that model.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. So I have another question. We're going to do this one quickly on a round robin here. So we're going to pick our answer and go with it. Bottom line is sometimes we're going to show up to an appointment, whether it's online or in person. And in our mind, we have an idea of where we want to go with that appointment, But as we talk and we get to know the person, we have to be able to call an audible. We have to be willing to change the play based on where we were headed with it. How often does that happen to you, Aubrey?
All the time.
Uh,
That's why I keep doing it, because it's like opening up oysters. I don't know how I'm going to get today. I never get bored because I don't know who I'm going to meet or where it's going to go. Right. So that's the whole fun of it. Like the real quick story, the other day, I had this realtor kept calling me. I said, wait, this is a sign from the universe. I'm like, I'm going to recruit her. I'm like, you don't recruit me, I recruit you. I said, hey, let's connect. I booked an appointment. We meet for juice or whatever at a juice joint. And obviously she said, this isn't for me, but I may have someone. Now, another thing I did to get those referrals is I said, hey, my friend Brian is stuck, with the whole housing market. He might be willing to switch with you. And then she's like, okay, well, who's your plastic surgeon? Okay, who's this? And we just started going back and forth referrals. If I gave her, a little something, she's going to give me some. And actually that girl's on a trial run that she led me to. So I didn't know how that appointment was going to go, but I ran with it. And I wanted her to know that I was a team player, that I give referrals to, people in my community, and I support people. So that's what I want to come off also in my community is that, yeah, like Carmen said, I'm not the girl you want to run away from at the grocery store. Because hey, that's Aubrey. She's got a successful business, and she's always giving referrals out to business owners in our area. Because that's what I want to be known for too in our community, right? Be a team player.
I love it. I love it. Being congruent with the karmic energy of what we give out, what we want back. And if I want somebody to help me, I have to be willing to help them. And we have to be open all the way around. So Carmen, how about you on that?
Oh, I have the same similar situations that occur. You never know when you meet with someone what is going to happen. You could think it's going to run perfect, and then the whole thing changes. And so you always have to keep your mind open and be willing to change with the tide. And so if they are, moving in a different direction, we've always said, and this is really important for everybody to remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and there's a reason for it. We need to listen to them, because what will happen is they may be sending little bits and pieces to us through what they're saying. And it could be that maybe this business isn't for them. But as Aubrey said, that could lead to leads. So you never want to hurt a relationship by overpowering them or trying to push it on them. I don't push anything on anyone. I want people to gravitate towards me. I want people to like me. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, like I said earlier, oh God, here she comes. I don't want people to feel like that. I want people when I walk in the room to want to talk to me and want to feel that energy that I have. And so that's what I do all the time. And my friends in this business are amazing. I mean, I'm fortunate that most of the people that I've met that I'm friends with are from the business. In addition to that is when you meet with people, think about what they might be going through. Keep your mind open. Don't always think about what's for you. Think about what's going on with them. You need to know them, because if you don't know them, how in the world are you going to help them build a business? So get to know them, help them. And you know what? It may not be for them right then, but it could be for them later. So build the relationship, build the trust, and people do business with those they know, like, and trust.
Man, so great. And one thing that came to mind during all of that you were just sharing, Carmen, is that as we build the relationship, we're meeting with somebody, we don't have the relationship built, everything is energy, you guys. So ultimately, if there's people who, like Carmen says, I don't want to come across as someone who's going to ever chase somebody, or I show up somewhere, everybody scatters. But for other people, that's the exact same thing, though, that's stopping you from taking action, because you're going to assume everybody's going to think of you that way when it's all energy. So Carmen is saying, I didn't want that, so therefore this is how I treat it. This is what everybody's saying who's on the line here tonight. So everything is about your posture, your confidence, and knowing that you're all about solving problems for people in order to grow a successful business. And that's what entrepreneurship's all about. So if you ever have those feelings of being nervous about what people are going to think, let that go, and just know you got to posture up and know that we obviously own the bakery, as Bonnie, Philo, and Elizabeth would say. So Don Martin, going to you on that, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it's constant. It's a constant shift. I mean, I'm going to keep it simple because I can't say it any better than Aubrey. And Carmen just said. They hit it on the head. When in doubt, blurt it out. People that you think you're going to do it won't. People that you don't think you're going to do it will. Don't overthink the process. Go through it, but be comfortable shifting at an instant because you may need to. Sometimes I'm going to sit down with somebody and they're going to be like me and my personality type. And like, they need to know everything now. And if somebody tried to put the brakes on me and make me come back 2-3 times, I'd have been gone. You need to be able to identify that and go. And other people, you're going to tell from the personality. I could overwhelm this person if I go all, you know what I mean? So you got to break it up. Or you might want to just do what Cullen talks about, because I fall in love with the same process Cullen did. I like sitting down with people the first time, and I won't even flip a chart. I won't even start a PowerPoint. I'm going to give them concepts, but I'm just going to build I call it a rapport meeting, 30 minutes building rapport. I'm not even going to touch a slide or anything and build rapport and then say, hey, we don't have enough time to go through the business. Let's schedule time to go through it. And then I'll get back with them a second time and show them the whole thing. But I built the rapport and trust. Mm-hmm. It's all a feel. So just understand you're good. It's going to be a change all the time. And don't get so stuck in the process that you process yourself out of success.
Yeah.
Oh, so great. Ultimately, we all have to take action.
That's right.
And we also have to practice, because I don't know anybody, any one of you that got great at whatever it is you already currently do for a living or whatever it might be that didn't take practice. So if you know the plan is the key to building the 2 to 3 year plan, then it's like, study that thing. And like, we all practice drawing it out on paper and do it. So then that way we knew it, we could talk in themes. We could just have a conversation with somebody. So many people, I think, dip their toe in the water and trying different things. And then it's like, I ain't working fast. Now I'm going to try this. I go try that. I go try that. How about just master the plan and understand the psychology behind it? It's, JR we have it in the back office. You can go and watch a whole detailed session on the Unfranchised Manifesto, where JR takes a deep dive into everything. We're just sharing a very superficial level of how JR created the system, but you can go watch the full length video and to really understand the science and the studies and all the percentages and everything he was evaluating to make sure he was upping the odds to create a business system that the average person could succeed at. And I know this because Trinity and I are average, but come above average with the unfranchised, which is super exciting. Now, real quick, how do we know if it's a successful appointment in 1 minute or less? I'm going to let Don go first. How do you know? So you get whatever you shared with them. How do we know that it was a successful appointment?
Did you book the follow-up? It's just that simple. Did you book a follow-up? If you leave a meeting and you don't have a time and place to get back with them, no matter how great you think it was, and no matter how interested they say they were, it didn't work. You failed. And for no other reason that even if they end up getting in, but since you didn't book a follow-up, guess what they're going to do with all their people? They won't book follow-ups, and then they're going to struggle, and they'll just have to get lucky to bring on partners. But if you get those follow-ups booked, that's how you know. You might did a terrible plan. You might have messed it up. You might have forgot to say something. But if you got the follow-up and they say, listen, I need to see this again because I'm confused. And you're thinking, yeah, no wonder I screwed it up really, really bad. You don't have to say it, but you got the follow-up. Now they're going to see it again. They're not going to get it all the first time anyway. The follow-up is the answer.
All right. So the follow-up's the answer. Now, Aubrey, as you're booking that follow-up, what else could you do to make sure that it was a successful meeting for you?
Retail. You're not getting away from me unless you're on our product. So how in the world are they going to become successful if you're not a product of the product? So I treat it like $1 million business. I want everyone on our product. I'll say, what would interest you the most? I'll send them some trial sizes, or again, they'll take it right there as well. So I want people to love the product because we are a volume driven. If you're going to walk away from me, you're going to walk away with me with some BV in your hands, one way or another. And I want the follow-up, but I want you to have BV attached to the follow-up. That's how it's going to work for me, because even if timing is not right, guess what? I want to help you with whatever's going on. I want to provide a solution to have that. So again, if the timing's not right, or if they don't lead me to any people, I would love to have them as my customer.
So
Yes.
great. All right. So we got the follow-up. We're booking the follow-up and we're moving BVs, making it happen. Carmen, Ames, what else could we be doing to make sure that we're moving the bus forward here?
Have them invite a guest to the next appointment. Have them bring somebody with them that they think would like to see this.
So great. So great. You know, what's so funny about this, guys, and I'm being dead serious with it. I mean, I had conversations with all of my panelists here tonight, and we just talked, and I said, listen, we're just going to talk in themes. I'm going to share some slides, but we didn't rehearse this whole thing out, just so you guys know. So it's so beautiful to know when people are, when they're building the business, because we're all right in tune with each other. And yet we didn't have to rehearse nothing. I mean, it just is the business. And of course, we're also going to sell them a ticket. I'm always closing into the next event, whatever's coming up. What can I get them plugged into? And of course, now that we're getting back in person, that's the secret sauce, folks. There you go, Carmen. That's the ticket, baby. So listen, we got to move a ticket. They buy the ticket, they come to the event, they meet the people, they get to talk to other people, they get to hear other success stories, they get to give people a hug. We're real people. And now we are 100% in it to win it, making it happen as we build things to the next level. Now, as we close this out tonight, I want to make sure that each and every one of you is plugged into our next Wednesday session. As you can see, it's going to be week 4, building base 10 and creating new BV sales. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. You're not going to want to miss a second of that session, which, by the way, as a little disclaimer for each and every one of you, if you have the opportunity to show the business, to meet with somebody and expose the business or expose our products and move BVs and make retail profit on a Wednesday night, we want you to do that, because you need to be growing your business. You can watch this recording later. If you don't have something scheduled on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, then that's why these sessions are scheduled at this time. So we, believe it or not, most people are watching the replays because they're out making things happen. And guess what? You should never question, where should I be spending my time? Because there's a meeting or a training over here. Guys, nobody's ever going to leave the unfranchised business for a lack of support, training, teamwork, and all the content and tools we have in our toolbox. And I will say, as we close this out, my favorite newest tool in the toolbox is by far the unfranchised marketing app. And I hope each and every one of you are taking advantage and using that app, because when you even show that to somebody, that could be the whole first meeting when you just bring up, yeah, we got this incredible app, and you show it to them and they go, what? That's what you do? And you're like, oh yeah, man, I'm always giving gifts out, giving samples out, and people like it. And then they order. And then it's like, guys, the logic behind that is, we wouldn't have 7 trial size marketing samples available if they didn't work in like 3 days. The only one that would take longer is the daily essential packing. We really get that out to people to make sure they can taste it, like it, they love it, they want to order it. But the rest of them, fast products that they work, or else they're not going to be part of the trial size marketing campaign that we're all working on here. So those are some things as seeds we're always planting with the prospect for them to say, that's hot. That's simple. That's duplicatable. Okay. So we're going to take 1 minute each, guys. I got you on a 1 minute clock so we can end this. We got to end early here. We're going to rock it out, but everybody did an incredible job tonight. I'm super pumped. But Carmen Ames, if you don't have to take a minute, but what do you got in closing to round this out on showing the business and expanding everybody's unfranchised business with new partners?
Well, my advice to everybody out there is just do it. But most importantly, have your names list, follow up, the fortunes in the follow up, be consistently consistent, and make certain that you never in your mind think that that person might not be interested. Always be asking, always be greeting, and always be humble and kind. And remember that you never know what they are going through, but be a team player, work with your team, and help others out there. And I wish you all the greatest success.
I love it. Beautiful. Aubrey.
Well, I would say share it with other people. I think people make an excuse not to share it because they have challenges going on in their life. If they're sick or they have stress or stuff with their family, I say regardless of the circumstance, go show the plan, because you will feel better. You know, I actually use it as medicine instead of drinking or doing drugs or crazy things. I go show the plan. And guess what, guys? You're going to feel so much better after you show it. You will be happier. You'll probably be smiling. If you have a headache, the headache will go away. So that is the cure, is just share it with other people, because you're connecting with other people, and we have what everybody is looking for. They're just waiting for you to call them. They're just waiting for you to ask. So just ask them, and you'll be so glad that you did.
That's so great. You know what? And coming from you, Aubrey, I mean, obviously, you know, you've went through your share of health challenges, and to see you still be cranking the business and coming out stronger than ever, out to bless and serve people and be a role model for your two amazing children to follow. And I have to say kudos to you, because most people probably would have used it as a reason to just step aside. But you're professional coordinator with the company, which is why you are professional, and continue to pave the way. And I've been watching you putting people into business and getting them success and making things happen. And you've won some awards recently. And so high five on that, as well as Carmen. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But Aubrey, you've been plowing through some of the challenges you've had in your life. So way to go.
Thank you.
And Don Martin.
So, you know, guys, here's the deal. Don't ever apologize for being passionate about this thing. You know, I had somebody commented, "Why are you yelling, bro?" I'm like, "Because I can't help myself and I won't apologize for it." You know, I'm fired up. Like, how are people not seeing this? Like, I you know, it blows me away.
Yeah, somebody's like, "Why are you yelling?" It's like, turn the volume down.
Yeah,
like,
that's all. It's not my fault.
I love everybody, but I'm just saying, I think it's funny. Like, let's go.
Right. Yeah, listen, I'm unapologetic. I want to maybe sink through those layers that sometimes the world has piled on people's mind, and sometimes you gotta, you know, get a little excited, a little passionate about it, so they can see, wow, you believe in this thing. Yeah, I believe in this thing. So be passionate about this. Book your follow-ups, get the products in people's hands, and get people into people. But always remember, just a cherry on top. Offer a ticket every single time you do a meeting. Right. Don't forget the tickets. People need to see the big picture. Offer a ticket, and then practice this. And when you practice it, I challenge you. I'm going to drop a challenge right now to practice showing the plan with a pen and pad to yourself every day for the next month. I dare you. I dare you to practice showing a plan to yourself with a pen and pad every day for the next month, and not understand this better than you ever had before. And in turn, you'll have it a swag that you never had before when you're showing a plan, because you got it.
So great, guys. And thank you to each and every one of you who have tuned in here live, or if you're watching the replay. Thank you for investing in yourself, because that's really what it's all about. Us always becoming 1% better every day than we were the day before, and then expecting great results to come into our life and in the lives of the people that we're blessing and serving with our products and our business system. So thank you, guys. Thank you, my incredible panelists, Don, Carmen, and Aubrey. You guys were absolutely incredible. And everybody just go out and stay focused and stay the course. Dennis,
much love to Cullen for running this panel. Great job, Cullen.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cullen. Thank you, Don.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
That's it. Make it happen, guys. Love you.